Snake Pass,
Snake Pass.
where you play as a snake. Yeah, passes through things.
The snake is passing through stuff.
Right. Expect it to live up to its name. Let's go.
Well, the snake does pass through and past things. So in that respect, yes, it does live up to its name.
All right, good. Off to a good start then. So tell us a little bit about Snake Pass then.
Right, so you're a snake called Noodle. This is you opening your eyes. And your mate is a hummingbird called Oodle. Which is, you know, a bit weird that you'd find a friend who's got a very similar name as yours, but it's happened. So we'll go with it.
Well, you know what? We're going with games with animals with very odd names, and this is very reminiscent immediately of rare games, which also employed oddly named creatures. So
Yeah, with big eyes as well. That's
Yeah.
the key thing, isn't it? It's slap big eyes on it, and you've got a rare animal.
and its colours is really nice and bright and cheery for all family.
It is, and you know, taking a prompt from Rare, you've got a lot of things to collect on each level. So each level is a weird sort of place or dimension that Noodle and Oodle have been trapped in, and you've got to collect everything to get out of it, more or less. So that's the goal, collect all the little bubbles, and there are some coins. There's actually a coin around here, there we go. So 5 coins on every level, and 20 bubbles. So actually no, there's a coin down here because I've played this level previously, so we'll go and grab this.
So what are the differences other than it just being collectible? Is it? Oh dear, no, you had one job. So what's the kind of difference between the bubbles and the coins? Is there any particular thing that these give you other than just being collectible?
Well, I think that the bubbles are generally a bit more obvious, so they're placed a bit more overtly in the level, and you've got to collect them. They are later on, they're a bit more hidden. The coins are very much hidden. But every time you see a little sign... Sorry.
No, you can cut that out.
Every time you see a little sign with a little skull and crossbones, that suggests there's a coin nearby. So you've got little clues as to where they are. So if you see one of the signs, you know there's a coin nearby, and you need to hunt for it. So we'll see if we can find one of those signs in a second.
But more specifically, what are the? Is there any? What's the word? What's the benefit? What do the bubbles give you? Is it? Are you working for something? Is there like a goal for getting all the bubbles and the coins? Does it unlock something, or is it aid the story?
Well, you get trophies, and I think that's pretty much it, really.
Okay.
So, for example, you can collect all the bubbles, and you just get a warm, fuzzy feeling for collecting everything. Really, that's
Sometimes
kind of it.
sometimes that's all you want from a game, isn't it? I suppose. Because what I really like for this is that you just look at his face. It's so. There's a lot of personality. Look, it's adorable. Sometimes you just, you know, just what you're doing now. Now you're doing that, or is he just doing that?
I am doing that, so I'm changing the facial expressions using the D-pad, so he's happy. I think this one's supposed to be devious. Slithery snake.
Oh yeah, it's quite sly.
A bit sad.
That one looks like he wants water.
Controls are really good. So you hold the right trigger, and you move the snake just in the direction of the left stick, basically, and you gain traction by slithering. So if you just go in a straight line, eventually you can see here I'm slowing down. As soon as I start moving at a different angle, get a bit of friction going and a bit of speed, and that's how you climb up things as well. And then by holding the X button, he sticks his head in the sky, like so, and you can move around while you're in the air.
And it does feel quite intuitive. You're using both sticks, right? So
I'm only using the right stick for camera, so that spins the camera around.
right.
So I sort of put it in a nice sort of place, really, and they don't really touch it. So a lot of people had moaned when I'd seen this previously about the camera, and had suggested that the camera is actually a bit of a pain on this game. I'm not sure I agree with that, really. It's not. At points when you go into very small tunnels, it's a bit of a pain, but generally I find it actually works quite well.
I suppose that's kind of part of the course for any kind of 3D platformer where you're gonna, invariably find some sort of obstacle in the environment. But I think the main thing is as long as the snake controls like a snake. I'm assuming it's as good as being a snake as it can be.
Yeah, I mean I don't really know what being a snake's like, but I imagine it's a lot like this. It tells you as a tip in the menu, think like a snake, and it does sort of make sense that when you're traversing these different bits and pieces, you want to go upwards, so you wrap around something and you can get quite high. And you've got the option of holding the left trigger, which tightens around these bars, and therefore you can secure yourself a bit more should you need to, which helps you traverse some of the more difficult stuff. So we'll go back and try and get that first coin again, because that was a bit hard before. See if we can snatch it. You can see there, we've got that secret coin. There's a little skull and crossbones sign suggesting there's a coin nearby. We'll zoom back in again.
It does look really fluid. I like the...
Oh, it's super intuitive.
So this is the tutorial we're playing now, right? And
yes, this is basically the tutorial level. Yeah, absolutely.
I'm assuming there are... Like, what kind of obstacles are you going to be faced with later on? I'm assuming you've got a little further than this in the game. This is just for the purpose of introducing this to our
yeah,
channel.
I don't want to spoil too much. So you can one of the main obstacles is falling to your death, like here. So obviously one of the benefits of being in this weird dimension is that you're on a load of floating platforms, and of course if you make a wrong step, you fall off as you saw me do earlier. Then you just go back to the last checkpoint. You also encounter spikes, lava. I'm trying to think what else I've bumped into that's a bit mean, but I think they're probably...
Mongooses. They're a snake's worst enemy, aren't they?
Well, yeah, you'd think so. I don't know really. I don't know what in the wild eats snakes. There's no baddies to kill or anything like that though.
So that was the coin you were talking about, was it? When you were going to get that?
That was the tough one. Yeah, that was the tough one. So here, as I'm slithering up this pole, I'm holding the left trigger, which is giving me a bit of traction, stopping me from falling. So that's a bit of a spoiler really, we've got all the secrets in this first level. But so the main point of getting through the levels is getting the coloured gems. The coloured gems open the gate. Once the gate's open, then you're good to go basically. You can exit the level, move on to the next level. So if you really didn't want to, you don't have to collect any bubbles, and you don't have to collect any coins. They're purely there for the completionists.
So did you... what did you get here? So... Good work. So you can... Yeah, so you can... And you would have like a replay options for this. Does it have anything like by way of time trials or things like that?
Well, it has exactly that. It does have time trials. So once you finish the level, you can go back and do a time trial. You can also go back and try and collect all the things that you've missed. So that last one wasn't a great example, but let's imagine I left some wisps, which are the bubbles, and I left some coins. All the ones that I'd previously collected, they're already gone. So it would just be the ones that I need that are left. But I still have to collect the keys there, but the keys to open the gate, so the big coloured gems. But actually only the bubbles that I need and the coins that I need will be left in the level. So you've got replayability there, you can go back in and try and complete them all. There's a few trophies for doing things in the levels as well in certain ways. So there's one for finishing a certain level without touching the floor at any point, and a few things like that. So even when you've captured everything, collected everything, you could still go into trophy completion mode and get everything wrapped up that way.
So this has opened up quite a bit now. It's got much bigger, and I'm assuming these levels just get larger as you go on.
Basically, yeah, more complex as well. So there's a bit of a route here. You can see the arrow. I'm going the wrong way, or rather the way I'm not supposed to go. So the arrows are telling me to go a certain way, which is giving me a bit of guidance around, and they do tend to do that. You should be able to see if I zoom out.
But is it that they're giving you a bit of guidance while not holding your hand too much? So you've still got...
Yeah, exactly. You could very easily miss coins and things, and miss even whole sections that have got wisps with bubbles or coins in. I don't know what I'm doing here. I'm sort of going around this guy's head. Not sure the point of that. And I think that's where the game kind of excels, because each level's a self-contained entity, if you like. The levels don't overlap each other. And you're just free to explore it as you want. There's no bits really that are off limits once you've gone through a certain point. Sometimes it's a bit of a pain going all the way back through a level if you miss something at the start or you see something across the way, because of course you're slithering like a snake, so it's not exactly quick. But it's kind of the point, I think, is just to sort of enjoy the environment and enjoy being a snake and enjoy the control scheme. And it is enjoyable. That's the key thing about it, particularly where I'm holding X to go up, and I'm letting go to go down, and I'm holding it again, and I'm right trigger, and I'm left trigger. It's just so intuitive, and it works so well. I'm doing a very bad job here.
No, I definitely get that vibe, because sometimes when you just play these big, especially this year, all of these big FPS games and open world games, they tend to burn you out. So once in a while it's nice just to pick up something that you can just, it really is just relaxing and playing at your own pace. It's not really nagging at you to rush anywhere in particular. And this just makes me want to pick it up and see how the control scheme works based on how you describe it, because it just seems it's just different, and I need to decide now whether it's something that I would pick up on the PlayStation, certainly while it's on a sale at the moment, or go for the Nintendo Switch version, which I have seen videos of, and it looks like they've done a really good job with that as well.
Yeah, I think it probably really well suited to a little handheld device that you could take away somewhere, go and sit out in the sun maybe, have a little blast, put your headphones in, listen to this cool music. Actually really at home on a Nintendo console, so the music's done by the guy who did the music for Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze. So there's a Nintendo link there, just in the production of the game anyway.
Yeah, it's polished all around. It's I'm curious. I wonder if they obviously, I mean, it's early days. I haven't seen the game. I don't know how it rewards you, but I was wondering if you might have extra things to unlock in the game, and but I don't know if you necessarily need that. Just
I think once you've completed all the levels and you've captured all of the collectibles and you've got all of the trophies, I think you're probably done. I'm not sure why you'd go back and do it other than just to play around being as a snake, which you might just do, you know, to have a little blast and a little chill out after a day at work.
But this is the sort of thing even that you could just give to a kid and they would be happy just doing this, wouldn't they? You know, like, that's all they got to do. Is I think this is just has a lot of charm and appeal for that kind of audience as well.
Yeah, I think so. And what I like about it as well is I see structures like this and I think, oh yeah, that'd be really fun to climb up that. And it is. And you see them in the distance and you're like, oh, that's a really complex structure. I'm having a great time scaling that. And it's great in a bit of water, and you go for a little swim and you can go up and down in the water, and there's a few watery bits later on. Normally I get a water level in games and I do a cringe, and you know, this isn't too bad.
It's just, even just going through the water there, everything's just so, it's just so bright and just the little subtle effects in there. It just feels really, really, it's just relaxing, isn't it? Probably just sit there in silence. It looks fun to watch as much as it probably is to play. It's quite
yeah,
adorable.
definitely. And I mean, I've played it for a little bit, so I'm quite familiar with the control scheme now, and I'm you know, sort of doing a reasonable job of controlling a snake. I think if there were two things I'd complain about, or that could be better, yeah, maybe the camera, I would say. Oh, I'm not gonna make this coin.
Go on, Matt, you can do it.
There we go. You know, at points it does require a bit of management, and it's not a game breaker as some of the reviews and thoughts out there would suggest. And also the checkpoint system. So I've not had a checkpoint or gone to a checkpoint for a little bit. If I was to fall off the map now, everything I've collected since the last checkpoint would be lost.
Right.
And that would result in probably some swears, because I've done quite a lot here. Could it auto checkpoint every time you got a coin? Yeah, maybe. I think that might be better.
Or at the very least, when you pick up a key or something.
Yeah, that might be better. And you know, there's a checkpoint just there behind this little bit that I'm climbing. You could go to that and trigger it, and then you're all good basically. In fact, I might go and do that in a second.
Yeah, because you could always. I suppose they could have done that for a certain casual play style, and then if you wanted to go through the level, you could have possibly had an option where you had to do it in one hit and not die, and but still, that's.
Well, there is a trophy for completing all the levels without dying, which sounds quite difficult. But then, when you're just thinking of that, just means getting the gems. That's not quite so bad, and the whole thing can be done at your own pace as well. So you're not overly pressured really. So it's not too tough, but still, it's there's challenges there if you want to play it that way to have those challenges. There you go. There's the checkpoint. So I've got 1 coin left to go and 4 or 5 bubbles. We're going to get that bubble, and then I can come back in and do this level at a different time if I want to, and just finish it all off.
And how many? Because this is we've been watching this for about a little over 10 minutes. This level, I think. So it's how many levels are in this game? Like what kind of? How many hours are we talking about?
So there's 15, and I think if you were to collect everything on a level, certainly from a couple of the later ones, and I'm only on to level 10 myself, you're probably looking at about 45 minutes a level, maybe. Okay. So I think you've got a good, if you wanted to 100% complete the game, not including trophies, I think you're probably looking at a decent 10 hours. Which actually, for £8 on the PlayStation Store and 15 on the Switch, that's not bad.
That's not bad, no. But if you're like me, you're going to be playing through the whole thing. I'm playing through Horizon now, and I know people who have gotten through Horizon in, say, 40 hours, but I've spent almost that just doing a few side quests and mucking about with the camera. So any game these days, it's as long as you really want it to be. So I would say I could play this, and I would get way more out of that than what I've spent on it. You know what I mean? I'm sure there's a lot of bang for buck with this. So I'm very tempted. Yeah, I'm very tempted to pick this up.
Well, I'd recommend it definitely. And I think for something that's a bit different and for a 90s style platformer that isn't exactly the same as the other ones that you've played 100 times. Yeah, it's really good. I like it very much. I'm pleased that I bought it. And yeah, don't pass on SNAAAAAAAAAAAAAAAKE Pass.